Yeah, that'll do. Um, don't really do this often. Haven't done it in a long time. Haven't done like vlog style stuff. It's not really something I do. Um, Apart from TikTok, Instagram, those type of things. I don't consider those a vlog. They're like 15 seconds to a minute. I'm not really 100% sure on what to do about the channel at the moment. Nowadays, everybody seems to be going towards streaming as the thing that they do. As someone who's done that kind of shit their entire fucking life and finds it really easy to just talk aimlessly to comments, um, it would be fun. I have the equipment to do so as well, and I now have the internet to do so. But, I've always seen myself not as like a director or anything as fucking self aggrandizing as that. But, I like a little bit of thought process behind the things that I do. I like to take the time to like curate what it is that I'm doing. So the mixes that I've dropped on this channel are all just like freestyle mixes I made on my phone, and they're like people like them, sure. So the Turing test one I think's a fucking banger because I can like visualize shit when I'm listening to it, but they're exceedingly low effort, as is almost everything I do. That's what I'm like. Uh, I've been working on a little bit of art here and there. I've been working on a little bit of music here and there. But right now I'm going through a lot of stuff in life, which I'm sure at some point I'll talk about on the channel, should I ever give enough of a fuck to edit some of that together. But yeah, hopefully it was over a minute. I'm good to swear. Uh, Still trying to avoid YouTube censorship, still trying to be smart. Um, the thing is, I started doing YouTube a long, long time ago, about 12 to 13 years ago. And it wasn't long after I started that I did some Final Fantasy 13 videos because I knew people might struggle on certain bosses. And because of the timing and the fact that it just released in the West, I got really lucky and went viral back in the day when about 10,000 views was viral. That instantly made me a YouTube partner, and I didn't have to worry about adverts and stuff. And I miss that. But when it came to the point where they changed it, so you need 10,000 subs and to get your plaque and all these types of things, that was probably two adpocalypses deep, and now we're far beyond that time. So, I don't really want any of my content to appeal to children, and I would love to have sponsors from your usual off, not brand, but, you know, Adam and Eve and Love Honey and stuff. I'm totally fine to support them. Don't mind, or some other thing. Who knows? Manscaped. There you go. There's another one I'm fine with. It's not that I want the money. Same goes for like starting a Patreon or something. I'm definitely not going to do that until I know that people give a toss. Um, I might make a bunch of flash art and turn it into stickers. That's an idea. Just because there's a bunch of little ideas I've always wanted to do, and it'd be nice to just do little pieces of art, get that done. I've got a Wacom tablet now, which I haven't used apart from once because I'm useless like that. And I've got like a tap pad, and I've got my condenser mic. I've got all the shit I need. I just need the gumption to go ahead and do it. I'm on too many platforms, like Insta, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and all that. And I'd love to conglomerate, no, like converge or to bring together. I'd love to bring all that together into one place, which would be great if it was here. Um, Sometimes there's a level of introspection to talking to a camera where you're almost talking to yourself, but just by imagining there's an audience there, it gives what you're doing more of a sense of purpose. As someone that was seen as like quite the orator in my teens, and now that I'm getting older, I'm realizing that it's a natural talent of mine. I've done a lot of pitches, and I've done a lot of presentations, and I remember doing a pitch to Microsoft executives in a game jam, and everyone was like, "Greg, aren't you going to write a script? Aren't you going to do this? Aren't you going to do that?" And I was like, "Trust me, mate. I'll wing it and I'll fucking smash it out of the park." And I did. Our game didn't do well, mind you. Our team was supposed to be 6 people, and it was like four artists, me as a designer, and I was better at art than the rest of the twats, and then one coder. So as you can imagine, having one coder trying to build a game in 3 days, it wasn't a good idea. Um, that coder was severely deep in the spectrum. So regardless of the fact that we had all decided I was going to deliver the pitch as the games designer, he just randomly started doing the pitch. And the executives had to shut him down and be like, are you the one giving the pitch? And I was like, no, actually, that's me. And I stepped forward and did it. Yeah, I mean, it's twofold, really. There's two different lanes to it. I would very much like to make content that people are intrigued by or find educational, in the sense that I would like to make not tutorials so much as tuition. I would really like to make videos that explain certain aspects of games design. There are people that do this already on YouTube, but the majority of these people focus on one thing. I think it's Decino, Decino, I hope I'm correct, is the chap that does all the stuff about the old Doom games and talks about like the sprite mapping and the characters and stuff, and that's fascinating. And Civ11, he's a fucking shining example of someone that goes through primarily old school FPS games, but he talks about the layout, the level design, and how it was made in the way of someone that knows not only what the developers were thinking, but also what a high tier player is thinking. As someone that has, played a lot of exceedingly hard games and does not find them hard, and someone who's done games design and studied it, I think it would be nice to kind of give out to the community of aspiring games designers something to think about a lot, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of kids out there now that have realized that streaming or YouTubing is essentially a pipe dream. Like, a lot of these kids can't even make friends, let alone talk to a camera. And, there's something to be said about how people like me who bothered to try and do games design as a diploma and had to do it through online stuff, because Full Sail was the first one and they were in America, so I couldn't do it through them. And I ended up through Train to Game. And Train to Game eventually wound up getting pretty much exposed as a con. But I was the second wave. So the first wave was like 5, 6 people. The second wave was a lot more people. And I ended up, as I said earlier, doing a games jam that was under Microsoft. So that was really cool. We also got into the Guinness World Book of Records for the most games designers in one place at one time. We took over Southampton Solent University for 3 days. It was pretty tight. I think it was like within 2 days, a bunch of people in Switzerland or somewhere managed to beat us by one person. So let's say we had like 300, they had 301 or something like that. So that was pretty jokes, in the Guinness World Records for all of like a couple of days. But it would be nice to have this kind of vlog atmosphere to some stuff and talk about some of my history in games design and just gaming in general. I've got an issue of Computer and Video Games magazine in my room here that I was in when I was like 12. And when I was 15, I almost got hired by Square Enix to do transliteration on the update posts for Final Fantasy XI. Literally whilst I was there in the offices in London, they decided to scrap the position and send my contact out to Japan to do it. And if any of you are old enough to know what the beta of Final Fantasy XI was like, you'll know that there wasn't a single menu option in introduction, nothing. It just dashed you into the game with no idea of what to do, which is a sin. And then they managed to repeat that with 14, and then they had to redo 14 and make it free for a bit. So Square Enix definitely has some lessons that they haven't learned from Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy 15, 7 Remake. But yeah. If I can teach people some stuff about like how texture mapping used to work, how pre-rendered backgrounds actually work, and things like ray casting and tick rates and stuff, just as basic, simple lessons, it'd be nice, because I'd like to feel like I'm making a difference, albeit I'm not at the moment, but I would really like to kind of feel like my knowledge has some kind of purpose in this world. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the plan. I want to do kind of a little bit of vlogging, but mostly something to teach people about like gaming and all facets of it. So whether that's music, art, the story Bible, games design documents, concepts, language trees and pathways, NPC programming, world times, dialogue options, branching pathways for like story concepts, meters and gauges, just anything really, just anything. Just do little snippets about, I guess, gameology, about what it is to study games, as opposed to, you know, top 15 secrets in blah blah blah. Like there isn't a million channels that do that, or 100 things you didn't know about insert thing here. Make sure you drop a comment if you didn't know. Well, with 100, there's a good chance everybody didn't know at least one of them. Yeah, and just, you know, things that some people may not even bother to talk about, like the you know, the type of launch titles consoles get, the struggle of certain launch cycles. We're having some really interesting stuff happening right now with Sony running out of graphics cards for the PS5, and I hate to break it to you, but the Switch is a giant pile of shit, and has been for its entire release. So seeing them bring out a new Metroid that's 2D finally and looks like it's got the graphics of a 2009 game, and Advanced Wars 1 and 2 redos, absolutely sloppily done graphics when I would have happily seen people play the 8, well, I guess it would have been 16-bit version, you know? These things crack me up, especially the dichotomy of sales when it comes to Asian games. I think Guilty Gear, when I last checked, was at some obscene amount of hundreds of thousands worldwide, but it sold like 11,000 copies in Japan. So I'd love to bring up that how the Japanese market is made by Japanese people for Japanese people when they sell better everywhere else, and then they base their success on how they did in Japan, when really they should be wondering how they're doing in the West. This is already a bunch of different topics I could talk about, and this has gone on long enough. So I think that'll do. It's Litabix signing out. Much love, safe, and peace.